Hi, this is Amy Hill of Amy Hill Creates, and welcome to the Altenew Educator Certification Program HOP called Background Bonanza. I'm going to be making a very large background and then cutting it up into pieces to make 4 cards. And this is the colorway that I'm choosing, and these are the products. So you see Timeless Tulips and the Retro Bicycle stamp and die set. I'm going to start out with the Timeless Tulips, and I want this really big tulip vase, and I'm choosing this one because on the Retro Bicycle there is a little basket of tulips, and I thought that they would look really cute together. Now this is a very big stamp, and fortunately I have a very big stamp block to use, but if you don't have something like that, you can actually use the cover of your stamp wheel in order to stamp. Also, if you just even your die cutting plate, you can use that as well and just move that around. So I'm choosing to use my stamp block, and I'm actually going to be inking up this image with a few different inks. So you can see that I have jade here, and I'm focusing that on the base of the vase where the stems are, and it goes up a little bit on either side, just a little bit where some leaves are. And now I'm going to come in with my pinks and purples, and I've decided to use some lighter colors within my colorway. And so you can see I'm not going all over with that pale mauve, I'm just going a little bit. And with the pink diamond, again, I'm just going a little bit, and with the pink pearl, I'm just going a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of go all over with all over the top with that soft lilac. And I changed this up. I've really started to, for each one of these times that I stamped, I was very different and it was very varied. So I'm just going to show you what this looks like when you stamp this down, and I'm making sure that that stamp has a lot of contact with the paper. So when I lift it up, you can see that you have a little bit of pink, a little bit of red, a little bit of purple, and I'm going to go all over with that. So I'm going to continue to do that all over my page. And this is just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of white cardstock. And I'm going to fill in as much as I can. So now I'm getting to the tricky part where you have done already most of the stamping. And I'm just going to show you that you can actually, just off of this one thing, I'm going to make 2 stamps. So you can see I'm coming in finally with that little bit of pink pearl and then that soft lilac. And as I put this down, I'm just going to see that, oh, the flowers fit in this corner, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that down. And I think after I'm done with that, I can get the edge of that vase in this little corner, and that way I can start to fill in those little sections of it. And then I'm going to turn that paper, and now this is really my last section. So I'm going to stamp this again, so I'm going to ink it up again, and I'm just going to fit this right into that little corner. And you can see that vase up top where I was able to get a large section in. So here's my page, and it's completely filled in, and I just love the look of this. I love the colors, and yes, I did make a couple of boo-boos, but that's not going to be a big deal because we're going to cut this in. And just to show you all of the colors that I decided to use. So it's the same color families, they're just lighter in color. So I'm going to take my page and I'm going to cut it up into 4 pieces, and each of these pieces are going to be the same. So I am on the 11-inch side, and I'm cutting that in half at 5.5. Then I'm going to turn that page and I'm going to cut the 8.5-inch page side in half at 4.25. And that's going to give me, I'm going to do that again with the other large panel, and that is going to give me 4 pieces of cardstock. And now I'm going to take this and we're going to make 4 different cards. The main elements on these cards is going to be the bicycle from Retro Bicycle. This is a layering stamp set, so whenever I'm working with a layering stamp set, especially if it's new, I use the layering guide inside of the packaging and just keep that right next to me so I can refer to it at all times. So this is the first part of the bicycle, and I stamped this in hazelnut ink from the Delectable Delights set. And I am going to be making 2 of these at a time. So you're going to see a second bicycle come in. I tried to do this where it flipped up, but based on where I initially put the bicycle, I couldn't fit 2 on a page. So instead, I'm just going to have a second piece of paper coming in. So you can see that second one in on the right-hand side. The second layer for the bike wheels, I'm going to be stamping in milk chocolate. And I really like this layer because it just gives like a little bit of detail to the seat and the handlebars and the inside of the wheels. And again, I'm doing this twice. So all I'm doing is just taking that second page and just laying it right on top of the first. And using the Altenew alignment guides is really helpful in this process because I have something to abut that piece of paper to, so I make sure that it stays in place. Just makes this a little bit quicker as we move along. So the next step is actually the body of the bike, and this is where the color is going to come in. So this was a little difficult to line up, but I was able to get it, and I just wasn't sure about it. So what I decided to do was actually stamp this in soft lilac. It's just a really light color, and this is a little tip that when you're doing layering stamps and you're not exactly sure if it's going to work out and you know you're going to be stamping it in a dark color, just stamp it in a light color. And what I decided that it was a little too much off for my liking, so I pulled it off and I lined it up again. And now that I was sure I had it, I'm now stamping it in Pinkalicious ink, and this is going to give that pink highlight to our little purple bike. I also stamped these bikes, I stamped two of the bikes in a red colorway, and I'll have those colorways listed in the video description. So this one lined up a lot better this time, and you can see the bike at the top, the piece of paper in the top right. I already stamped it twice. So the details are in Midnight Violet, and I stamped this one in there. And now we're in the very much details of the bike. So here's our spokes and handlebars and everything else, and I'm stamping this in Plum. And I like using colors that are not black because black is just so severe of a color. So instead, by using the Plum, I'm keeping in that same colorway, and I'm going to stamp this twice with Plum as well. So now I have two bikes that are ready to be cut out. But these bikes need a little flower basket, and that's what we're going to be doing next. So the flower basket starts off with the base basket, which I am stamping in Hazelnut. And this is one thing I love about the stamp wheel. I'm just using like extra paper that I have, and it didn't fit where I wanted it to go, so I just kept moving the wheel until I found a place where it could fit. This is the detail layer of the basket, and this is done in Milk Chocolate. So very similar to the way the wheels are. I use the same colorway pattern here. And again, love the stamp wheel for this. Just keep moving it around. There we go, it fits. This is the base layer of the leaves. And I stamped this in Jade. And I have to say I messed up here, and I'm going to show you in just a second, where I made a mistake on these baskets. And I kept it in just to kind of show you, but unfortunately I didn't film the way I stamped them correctly. So I restamped those, and again, I'll have the colorways inside of the video description. So now I have all these elements, and I have these 4 card backgrounds. And ultimately what I'm going to be doing is cutting these backgrounds into specific shapes, and I'll show you what those all look like to create elements for the bicycles to lay on top of. So we're now starting card assembly. So you can see the purple and the red bicycles, and I also have some purple flower baskets, sentiments that I've just stamped and cut out. The ink I used was Obsidian for that, and you can see the red flower baskets as well. So the first card bases are in this plum color, and I'm sorry I don't have a video to show this, but this is what it ended up as. And I like the fact that you have that nice plum that is a juxtaposition with that very soft background. And so this is just a close-up of this card that you see here. And our second card, I'm also going to use the plum, but I cut this down to 4 by 3.5. And that's going to give a really nice little edge, but still give some space to allow that retro bicycle to look like it's popping off of the page. And so I put the sentiment on, and this time I'm going to put the basket of flowers right on the handlebar. And I love the pink with the plum here and with the red basket of flowers. It's really, really pretty. And going to change up the next two cards because these are red bicycles with a green background. And this one I'm actually going to cut at a diagonal. So first I'm going to cut the width to 4 1/4 so it will fit right across the top of a top folding note card. And then I'm going to cut it on the diagonal. And I tend to do this by eyeball, but when I measured it out, it was 2 1/4 inches at the shortest end and 5 inches on the longest end of the diagonal. You could mark that out with a pencil and then just cut between the two dots that you made. So here you can see the red bicycle coming off, and I'm putting in the sentiment as well. And the basket of purple flowers I'm going to put right up at the top of the bicycle. And here is our diagonal card. And I really like this. It's just a little bit of a fun look, a little bit of a different way, and you can see the really pretty background. The last card that we're going to make, I'm going to take the panel and I'm going to cut it up into pieces. So I'm first going to cut an inch off. And you can see I turned my card, and now that was the inch that I just cut. And now I'm going to cut 1 3/4 inches. And I made a little mistake, and I'm going to keep it in for you, where I wanted these to actually go in order, but I cut them in the wrong way. So the last piece I just kind of fudged. So it does not a perfect triptych as it goes along, but instead it's just a piece that looks kind of similar but isn't exactly there. And these are all cut to 3 1/2 inches high, but it was 1 3/4, 1 inch, and then 3/4 of an inch. And you can look and see how it looks like there's movement across the page. And here's our bicycle, and I'm going to move that up just so I can tuck that little basket of flowers underneath and put on the sentiment as well. And I like this one too because it's just a different way. Instead of having a full background, it's still there. It's just that there's a little bit of green space to break up that background a little bit. And here's a look at our 4 cards. And it's amazing what you can do with just one sheet of paper. So thank you so much for joining us on the Hop, and I hope that you will subscribe and check out other videos. I hope you have a crafty day.